Hello, everyone. It's Rena. I'm the Slow Knitter from Atlanta, Georgia. It's where I usually podcast from. Today I'm podcasting from the beach house in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, which is in the panhandle of the state of Florida, Northwest Florida. I'm trying out an interview process using an app called Zoom, Zoom. It's an app we use for international virtual knit night get togethers. The International Virtual Knit Night is hosted by Phil and Eleni out of Athens, Greece. And so I talked to them about the whole concept of the virtual knit night, why they jumped in to host it. It's a really fun interview, and I think you'll really enjoy meeting them. As you know, I talk about them a lot frequently on my own podcast because this is an international group that just helps me through problems. We actually help each other. We have some really great personalities on it, and sometimes there's 5 people, sometimes 10, but I'll let Phil tell you more about it. But here's Phil and Eleni talking about the International Virtual Knit Night. I hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, please feel free to post them below and let me know what you think. And also, Phil explains how to become a member of our group. So if you have not subscribed yet, please do. Welcome back to my subscribers. Welcome to new viewers. If you have an opportunity to subscribe, please do. All right, enjoy our little chat with Phil and Eleni. See you later. Bye. Recording. Welcome, Phil and Eleni.
Nice to
Hi,
see
Rena. Thank you for inviting us.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm knitting.
Oh no, knit away. That's what this is all about. I want to. I'm going to pause the video I'm watching. Okay. I'm trying this Zoom conference to record our interview slash discussion in preparation for my interview with Bryony Marshall out of the UK, who's written a book called Unraveled, and it's a novel. And there are all kinds of knitting references, and the character is a knitter. And so I've prepared my list of questions for her. But then I thought, who better to test this whole platform out in terms of whether or not it actually works with my favorite people from Greece. So I figured also this would be a really special opportunity to talk about what we do on our virtual knit night, International Virtual Knit Night, and to have you explain this, because I hopefully can insert this into a podcast and talk about being part of this really pretty wonderful group. So
Okay.
I want you to tell me how you got involved and how you took it over from Grace, and why you did it.
Okay, first we introduce ourselves. I'm
Yes,
Eleni.
please introduce yourself. So sorry.
I'm Eleni.
And I'm Philip.
We live in Athens, Greece. And here, because we are a Mediterranean country, knitting is not very popular. I think crochet is more popular. So having knit nights and organized community is something very rare. So when I discovered Grace's virtual knit nights, it was something new for me. So I said, okay, I'm going to try this. At the time, Philip was not knitting. So I told him, go away, stay inside. I'm going to log in.
This is not for you.
Yeah, this is not for you, it's for me. So I logged in, I met people, it was very nice. And, Philip the next time was sitting next to me. So I told him, okay, if you want to participate, you have to learn how to knit. So he didn't like the idea.
So the VKN, as Grace was having it before, the former Babel's VKN, is the reason I got into knitting.
Yes.
Well, see, now you are amongst the very small community of men who knit. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And in Greece, more so in Greece, because I don't know
Are
what
you
the
the only
percentage.
man in Greece that knits, maybe?
I don't.
There are. I know
There must
someone,
be some
yes,
people that knit, but very
I
few.
challenge him to knit in public. This would be like very interesting. So yes.
When you knit in public, do people come and say, "What are you doing?"
I've done it like once, but in a
yeah.
very secure setting, you know,
Yes.
with at a restaurant that some friends of ours own. So, you know, it was quiet. It was appropriate for me to start doing it.
And they know because every time we go there, I have my knitting with me, so you know they are used to us
Mhm.
So
having
Phil,
knitting. Yeah.
do you like it? Do you like to knit?
Yes, although in the beginning, Eleni had actually tried to teach me how to knit prior to her discovering the VKN, but it was a bit of a rushed attempt. I wasn't very patient, neither was she, so it didn't work out. But then when she discovered the VKN and I joined her the second time, and I said, "Oh, these are all very nice people, very
Yes.
friendly." She was like what she just said before, that, well, if you want to join in more, you're going to have to learn the craft. So we tried again. She was more patient the second time around. I was more willing to concentrate. So from there, it was easy. I still consider myself a beginner knitter, although I've been knitting since June.
Well, that's
And
beginner.
so, yeah, I'm not running ahead of myself. So, you know, I'm taking it easy, doing things that I can tackle for now, and slowly, slowly we'll increase the level of difficulty and the various challenges.
So what have you made?
I started with a scarf, a tin can knits design, and then I did a hat, the barley hat, which you have done also.
Yeah.
The scarf was for my mom, the hat was for my dad. And then I did a cowl with the first, let's say, more posh style yarn, Malabrigo. And now I'm working on the tin can knits shawl, which you have seen in our iVKNs.
So, Eleni, you were the first to discover uh, the VKN with Grace,
Yes.
and you were drawn to it because you don't really have a knitting community there that you can share
Yeah.
ideas, patterns, ask questions. Are you still finding it as informative as you did in the beginning?
Yes, and it's nice because sometimes you have like small knit-alongs. Let's say, okay, I'm going to start something. This happened with, for example, my exploration station that I wanted to knit forever, and then we just said, okay, let's do this together and let's knit it, and it was fun. And always we learn new things about yarns and patterns, and again we exchange views about how to do things like the technical stuff of knitting. If you have questions about stuff, we we can ask each other and find solutions about things. And some people are more experienced from others, so it's nice again to see people who need many more years, and they have read so many books and know more stuff. So it's nice. And also they make other crafts as well, like spinning and crocheting and cross stitch and sewing. So it's not only about knitting, it's about a bigger range of things and makers. So it's nice. And also because it's a multicultural thing, people are meeting from around the world, which is very interesting. And again, it's very nice to see, to meet people that you wouldn't be able to meet in your everyday life anyway. So it's not very nice.
So I have a question.
If you are open-minded, in this case, I mean, if you are open-minded in meeting people like that, it's very nice.
So tell me, from where in the world are some of the members of the virtual knit night, the International Virtual Knit Night? Where do they hail from?
Well, we have people from Europe, we have Scandinavians, people from Norway, from Sweden, from Denmark, some of which may be living elsewhere, but they are originally from these countries. We have we have someone from France who recently joined. We have people from the United States. We have people from Canada,
Okay.
the UK, Scotland, Ireland.
So it's really, truly
North
a global.
America.
Do you have anybody
Yes,
from Asia? Anybody from Asia yet?
there was one girl that lives in Asia.
But
She has
she's
been,
English.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's British, but she's been on, and she currently lives in Asia. We have people from Australia, of course.
Mhm.
No one from New Zealand has showed up yet, but we hope so.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of people from the, oh, we have people from Portugal, I was going to say, from the Mediterranean countries, from Italy. We have some people that are in the Facebook group because, as you know, apart from the iVKN Zoom meetings, we have the Facebook community, the International Virtual Knit Nights group. So there are lots of people there, but not everyone has either had the time or maybe they're a bit shy, so they haven't come onto the iVKN yet because it's like an audio video conferencing platform. So maybe not everyone feels comfortable, but we do our best, as you know, to try and make everyone who joins feel welcome.
Yeah, you do. And I'll tell you how I came about it, which I think is, I've been part of this group for about 6 months now. And I saw an Instagram post from Mars of Hey Brown Berry, how she captured it while she was on an airplane, flying, she travels a lot for her job and flying from one place to another. She had the iVKN on and was showing the stewardess the screen. And I thought, what is that? And so that sort of, prompted me to go look for it. Now, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States, and I do have local yarn shops that do have knit nights or knit days or something. It's not the same as having this group, because this group just opens up your, not only your skill set and but your sort of your whole mind to what's going on globally with knitting and crafting and the fiber arts, not just what's going on in your own backyard. So it really does open you up. And I think there are a lot of people around the world, not just in the States, but around the world, where they don't have an opportunity to get together with other knitters and even discuss silly things. Like once we did karaoke one Sunday morning, I remember that, silly things, but even where you have issues on how to do this one problem, or how do I get out of this? You may remember that one of my ball winders screwed up a skein of yarn badly. And I think it was Corellia, where is she from? Norway, who let me know about the Not a Problem Ravelry group, where you can send that screwed up skein to someone who will put it back together for you. And had I not been part of this group, I don't know what I would have done with that yarn. And it was not cheap yarn. It was indie dyed, expensive yarn. And so it was, and then I think, how else would I know it? Who else knows about this? Well, there are a lot of people that know about it, but now I can tell people, because I learned about it through this virtual knit night, and through one of our members about it. So how do people find out about you? How do people find out how to join this? And what kind of equipment should they have? What kind of tools do they need?
Basically, the first thing they would need to have before we discuss the methods in which they can join is to have a computer, a laptop, a smartphone. They should have a webcam with audio capabilities. Of course, someone that doesn't have a webcam, we still welcome them to join, even if they just speak to us. Some people are shy initially and they type, so that's fine. We don't want to make it exclusive just to people who have a webcam. So first they would need that from a technical standpoint and in terms of equipment. Then they would need the program, the Zoom Meetings application that can be downloaded and installed onto a computer or onto a smartphone, tablet. And then they would have to find us on Facebook or on Instagram. So on Instagram, we have the iVirtual Knit Nights Instagram page. And on Facebook, we have the International Virtual Knit Nights group. So they can join either on Facebook or on Instagram or on both. But we prefer that people join us through Facebook, because through Facebook we can sort of see who comes into the group and see if they're related to knitting, crocheting, sewing, spinning, to some kind of craft. Because we have like a small questionnaire, just some basic questions, not personal information, nothing very serious that has to be disclosed. We just want people joining our group to be above the age of 18. Okay. And we just inform them that because of the nature of what we do on Zoom with the audio and the video conferencing, that they need to be aware of their background, what's going on in their homes, and just to be careful about noise that may disrupt the other people in the meeting. And once they've answered the questions and we deem that they are related to this community in one way or another, we admit them into the Facebook group, and through there they can find information about the room number. So they won't find the room number on Instagram if they follow our page on Instagram, but even if they don't have Facebook, they can still contact us through Instagram and tell us that we don't have Facebook. We can ask them the Facebook questions manually through Instagram by direct messaging them. And again, if they show us that they're people that should be in this community, we will give them privately the information about the Zoom meeting room.
And there are also some rules on the Facebook page, like we have to respect each other, be polite. You know, we want our group to be a place where you can just enter, knit. You can wear your pajamas if you want, feel comfortable.
You always have to be decent, yes, obviously.
Yeah.
But you can wear the comfort of your home.
And we understand that. But yes. I mean, it's we say rules of conduct, yes, but it's basically guidelines, and they're self-explanatory. Just be respectful of one another. Be friendly, be welcoming to newcomers like we are as hosts of the iVKN. So we just want people to have a nice behavior and make everyone feel comfortable, and those are basically the rules.
Let's take a step back now. Eleni, how long were you part of the Babel's VKNS before you and Phil decided, when Grace started to bow out due to her commitments, her work commitments and her crafting commitments, what prompted you guys to say, we'll be the hosts?
I started on Grace's VKN. I started participating since May.
End of May or mid-May.
Okay.
And then, because again, as I said before, this is something very new, and we really liked it, and we liked the connection we had with others. We became like quite regular members. Like, it was not something that we were coming once a month. We were weekly active.
We even joined while being on holiday. So yes, we were up in the mountain in the summer in August, and we had our 4 week, and we were joining. So and, we took it pretty yes, seriously.
And Grace, I appreciated our effort and the fact that we were really into it, and we also became at some point moderators
on the Facebook group. Grace asked us yes, if we can help, keep an eye on things, people joining, because she, obviously because of her day job, she couldn't right, be on all the time. So it started like that, Grace proposing to us to help her with the Facebook moderation. Mm-hmm. And then it moved on to when Grace decided she wanted to step back. She put forth a proposal to all moderators at the time. And Eleni and I also wanted to just let her
To
know
help,
that we're
yes.
willing to help. We're willing to take over if you decide that you want to give it to us.
Take over in the sense that we're just going to continue what she started with the same principles and the same atmosphere, and being open
Yeah.
to all people. So.
I have noticed that you have since you guys took over. I have noticed that the hours are less open. So you have Tuesdays and Saturdays and Sundays. And it used to be when I first started, I could pop on any day and somebody would be there. That's not the case anymore. And talk a little bit about why you did that.
Well, basically, when we joined, the format was the same format as it is currently. So it was the Tuesdays, the Saturdays, and the Sundays. So it was 3 times a week. At some point, Grace decided to leave the room open. So it was basically, as you just said, 24/7. You could come on at any time, regardless if someone would be on or not. So the room was open. And at some point, we just thought and discussed it over with Grace when she decided to hand it over to us. We talked about it and we thought that by reverting it to its original format, the 3-time-a-week format, it would be more effective and it would be also easier to moderate.
And also for people to follow a specific schedule, like not to be overwhelming, because sometimes when you know that you have a place to go to on a daily basis, you change your priorities maybe a little bit and you say, okay, I'm not going to do the things, I'm going to enter the VKN. So I think for many people this is nicer now because they know that I'm going to schedule my week and I know that these days I'm going to have my VKN and I'm going to be more focused on other things during the week. So I think
because we caught ourselves doing that too.
Yes.
We had become overwhelmed with it, and we were actually not doing other things we used to do so that we could come on to the VKN. So we thought it's better for people to be able to organize their program, just to know that it's 3 times a week.
And again, for us, we are a couple. We both need. Other people are not like couples. So like they are couples.
Not like you. How could they not like you?
Yeah. So they need a bit. Their other halves needed more attention, which is fine. I mean, yes.
I mean, there were people that were telling us that we're feeling overwhelmed with this. So at some point it started becoming a negative thing. So we thought maybe it's easier for everyone just to revert it to as Grace had it in the very beginning.
I will say from my point of view that I appreciate the reverting back to now. It's hard for me to do Tuesdays, but every now and then I can drop in, and because of our time difference, I can drop in around this time, and it's 9 p.m. or later in Greece right now, and so I know you guys are on, and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. For me, it's perfect. But thank you. I just want to thank you. Is there anything else you want to say?
Just about the times, Rena, of the iVKN, because you did talk about the time zones in the various countries. The Sunday VKN we leave it open for longer, obviously, because we wish to facilitate people in the United States, in Canada, in Australia that are either several hours behind us or ahead of us. So that the times that people will find are stated in Greek local time. So Greek local time, I think, is GMT +2. And on the Saturdays, it's 10 p.m. In the evening till 2:30 early morning hours of Wednesday. And on Tuesday, it starts at 10 p.m. Tuesday night for us and goes till 2:30 in the morning, early morning hours of Wednesday Greek time, let's say. On Saturday, again, it starts at 10 p.m. Greek time and goes till 4 a.m. in the morning, early morning hours of Sunday. And Sunday, we open the room at 2 p.m. After midday Greek time, and it runs till 1 a.m. Early morning hours of Monday. So it's open much longer on Sunday to facilitate people in those countries that I mentioned, mainly America, Canada, and Australia.
So I know that when I miss a few weeks, I miss everyone. I think, what are they working on? Where are they? And you really do become part of each other's lives, because
Yes,
when Eleni got her haircut, there was a big reveal on the haircut, and you really feel like you, she's my sister. Look, she got her haircut. It looks great. You know, so the connections, the global connection, and the global connectivity of our community.
And people have actually met through the former Babel's VKN and the iVKN, either because they were living in the same city and they found out through here, or because they may be going to some upcoming festival, and they may be from different countries, but they are arranging to meet. So that's the wonderful thing
for
about
example,
this
now that the
community.
Edinburgh Yarn Festival is approaching, there are people in this group who are like, yes, we're going to eat Chinese, we're going to meet, we're going to buy all the yarn. So, you know, maybe they won't be able to meet each other otherwise. So it's very nice.
That is very nice. So what's coming up for you guys that's happening in terms of knitting, in terms of events? Talk about what's coming up.
The biggest event that we're participating is the Rhodes Retreat, which is organized by Beardy Chill,
John
who
Glenn.
also has a podcast on YouTube, and he's a Scottish. If I can, I can describe him as a Scottish Santa. He's like Santa. He's very kind. He's very sweet, very cute. He's one of the male knitters of our group who has a huge experience, and he makes all the nice things, and he's also a designer. And because he's been to Rhodes on holidays for many years, he decided to organize a retreat, which is going to be fantastic, I think, because many people from this group are meeting, and we're going to have very cool instructors. We're going to have Ellie Skindir, we're going to have Nathan, mathematician, and John, of course. So it's going to be very nice, and we're looking forward. Really,
when is that happening?
Great.
That's happening
26th
from
of
the
May
26th till the 2nd of June.
Very, very fun. That's fun. Now, how far is that from where you
are? With the plane, it would only be an hour, but we're deciding to be a bit adventurous, and we're taking the boat, so it might be around 15 hours. We're taking our car also.
We want to take our car.
So we want to,
like a ferry kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very fun. I hope that you record some of this virtual knit night from there, because for those of us who cannot go to Rhodes, it would be fun to see everyone.
Connection permitting, internet connection permitting, we will try to keep the iVKN running, even if we're going to be at Rhodes.
So to conclude, if people want to participate in this, they should go to the Facebook page, request participation. You send them a mini questionnaire, they fill it out, and then they get the code, and they can come in as long as they download the Zoom app to their computer or to their tablet or their phone, and then they become part of it. And how many people have become part of it and have stayed for as long as you have? I mean, there's a group that's pretty hardcore and comes all the time.
In the Facebook group, in terms of members, we currently have around 260 or so members. But from those 260 members, the people that do participate in the iVKN Zoom meetings would be maybe 50 or so, if we count. I mean,
but the regulars are about 14, 15 people, maybe 20, like coming and going. It's not like all people at the same time, 20 people, but
which sort of makes it fun and really does mirror a knit night at a yarn store. There's usually 10 to 12 people, if not less. So it's very, very similar to that.
And it doesn't have to be
at home in your PJs.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge number of people. Sometimes there are 4 or 5 of us. Sometimes there are 10 of us. There's even been a time that there have been 20 of us. So depending on the company, the mood, that's going back to what we said, as long as there's a nice mood, it can be fun with a few people or a lot of people. Technically, the Zoom meeting room has the capability of hosting up to 100 people. Obviously, that would be
crazy,
uncontrollable.
Yes, that'd be a little crazy.
But we've had iVKN with up to 20 people, and that was great.
And also in this group there are also many indie yarn dyers and makers, so it's nice to support each other at times, and it's nice, and people are very generous and kind.
And I found out about your project bags making, and I ordered a project bag. And Corolla, who is what is her yarn company name? She's in
Otherworldly Yarns.
Otherworldly Yarn. She's known as a psychic knitter on Instagram, and her yarn is beautiful. And so I ordered a scan of her yarn, and learned a lot about different kinds of yarns and what hauls are from Rhinebeck or Edinburgh or any of those. It's really just fun. It makes you really, really part of as I mentioned before, sort of a global knitting community, which is pretty special.
And the makers here are very generous, because back in October, at the end of October, we organized from this living room the VKN Halloween Challenge.
Yes,
and
I
we
didn't
had
do well on that one.
we had lots of people donating prizes towards the challenge. We had a competition, we had a raffle, so it was very nice to see that people participated so actively in it.
Are we going to do it again?
Yes,
most definitely. We're already looking for, as soon as that challenge ended, everyone was saying, "Oh, we hope it happens next year." So that's definitely on our plans and on our list.
It's a great experience, and but I thank you both for helping me out on this little experiment, and also something I can insert into my podcast, because I've been talking about you a lot. I've been talking,
and we have to give you credit, Rena, because from the people that join in the Facebook group, one of the questions is, how did you find out about iVKN? Many people say the Slow Knitter.
Oh, really?
We have to give you our thanks for bringing people to this community and for promoting us.
Well, I would do it all the time. I almost every podcast I mention it, because almost every knit night that we have together, I come away with something. I learn something, and that is really why I'm in this. I'm not in this just for knitting fun, although it is fun. I also want to enhance my skills and learn what's going on around the world in this community. But anyway, thank you both for taking the time.
Thank you,
Rena, for inviting us.
This works, so I can do it. But thank you very much, and can't thank you enough.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure, Rena.
Bye. Love you guys.
Bye.